I just didn't. I leaned in, my fingers tangled in his wet hair, drawing him into a kiss that revealed everything we had never said. Our lips collided, igniting a fire that stole my breath away. His hands slipped beneath my shirt, warmth flooding through his palms as they held me close. A fire surged inside me as I clutched his shoulders, my nails brushing his skin, longing for the bond to intensify. Welcome to the realm of emotional love stories. Remember to give the video a thumbs up, share your insights in the comments, and subscribe to keep up with our newest narratives. May you find joy in tranquil, soothing moments. My sincere gratitude to you. Now, let us set forth on the adventure that awaits within the tale. On a sultry evening, the air thick with longing, I, Emily, 38, a widow too long, sharp-witted yet tender, sank into the shadows of our dim living room, my silk robe glinting softly in the low light, the heat wrapped around me, a weight that turned even the simplest movements into a struggle. The windows were slightly open, but the thick silence remained unbroken. The cicada's soft whispers mingle with the distant growl of thunder. I hung in that moment, time bending endlessly, though it barely spanned 20 minutes. My thoughts danced on the brink of the ordinary and the bittersweet, as they often did in this fleeting moment. 3 years have passed since my husband left, and while the sharp pain has dulled, an unyielding ache remains, haunting my every move. Tonight, the ache surged, restless and alive, as if the storm outside had stirred something deep within me. I shifted on the couch, the silk of my robe brushing my skin, and let out a slow, deliberate breath. The lamp's dim glow murmured secrets, casting shadows that swayed gently, cloaking the walls in a fragile gold. The light caressed me, a tender warmth, as my fingers grazed the robe's edge, the fabric soothing against my skin. The water's soft cascade pulled me from my thoughts. A heartbeat later, Thomas stepped into the living room, droplets shimmering on his skin, a towel hanging low on his hips. At 22, he radiated a restless energy, his dark, tousled hair framing a face that whispered of hidden secrets. His lean frame resonated with the remnants of youth, but beneath it lay a haunting depth, quietly pulling you in. Water glistened on his chest, the lamp's soft glow illuminating a moment that stole my breath. He was his father's mirror, and I was lost in the intensity of it. The known power, the wavering grace. I turned away, my gaze landing on the window. Thomas stood before me, a ghost of a past woven with his father, now just a whisper fading into the void. In the same space, we moved with care, our words sharp and fleeting. He was lost in his own journey, while I was too. Once I was a widow, lost in a world that felt like it was fading away from me. Darkness swallowed the light, shadows creeping in to claim the silence. A distant rumble echoed, a haunting promise of the storm ahead. I shot up, my foot caught on the ottoman, and I stumbled, hands reaching out desperately for balance. My fingers grazed Thomas's bare shoulders, his skin warm and damp beneath my touch. His hands gripped my arms, a quiet lifeline as I steadied myself. In a heartbeat, we froze, the air thick with unvoiced tension that we couldn't grasp. And then his towel slipped away. My fingers brushed against something hard beneath his waist, a jolt of electricity igniting within me at the contact. I flinched, breath caught, warmth rushing to my cheeks, a feeling starkly different from the suffocating heat enveloping me. "I'm sorry." Thomas's words faltered, tinged with shame as he shifted the towel, tension thick in the air. Under the moon's faint light, our eyes locked, a quiet recognition of the unsaid. A fleeting look that lingered forever, sharing untold truths. I pulled back, gasping. The memory of that fleeting touch seared into my mind. The evening faded, thick with unvoiced longings. Thomas vanished, whispering something about a flashlight, while I remained in the living room, my thoughts a tempest of unvoiced emotions. The storm howled outside, but inside, a fierce turmoil ignited. In the silence of my room, I succumbed to the pull within. My fingers traced the silk of my robe, skimming the curve of my hip, the flatness of my stomach, the softness of my thighs. My breath quickened, Thomas's memory haunting me, his strong frame, the sheen of his skin, the way he commanded the space, seizing my thoughts. Fingers brushed, urgency surged, then a wave crashed over me, leaving me breathless, lost in darkness. The air thickened with a quiet ache, hinting at unvoiced truths. The storm loomed, but it was the turmoil inside me that truly roared. It beckoned, a dangerous temptation, and I was caught in the whirlwind of excitement and the longing to see where it would lead. In the heavy silence, I stood at the kitchen counter, the sundress clinging to me as I fought against the suffocating heat. The air thickened, a palpable tension filling the room as the storm loomed just outside, whispering of impending chaos. My thoughts drifted to uncharted territories, haunted by the echo of that fleeting touch in the living room, the unintended brush of my fingers against Thomas, a moment that ignited emotions I wasn't prepared to face. I pressed against the cold marble, its chill powerless against the heat surging inside me. The refrigerator hummed softly, a haunting backdrop to the chaos raging inside me. It hung there, a haunting murmur in the darkness. His skin radiated warmth beneath my fingertips. The towel slipped just so, and an electric connection sparked in the moonlight's soft embrace. I felt the weight of it all. The memory gripped me, relentless and piercing, a thorn I couldn't shake off. The soft brush of bare feet on cool tiles pulled me from my thoughts. I turned my head slightly, catching a fleeting view of Thomas entering the kitchen, bare-chested, wearing only loose shorts that hung low on his hips. My breath caught, but I turned away, pretending to focus on the glass of water in my hand. He opened the fridge, a cold light spilling out, shadows flickering over him. He reached for a bottle of water, each movement fluid and purposeful, and I found myself stealing glances at him, heart racing in the shadows of my gaze. His every move drew me in, a perfect mix of confidence and ease that held my attention, leaving me spellbound. As he turned, our eyes locked, his gaze holding mine, sparking a warmth that filled the air. I inhaled sharply, fingers clenching the glass as I struggled to shake off his overwhelming presence. "Restless, are we?" he asked, his voice rough and heavy with sleep. I turned away, hiding my turmoil behind a delicate smile. Overwhelming heat. I believed a single sip of water could satisfy my desperate thirst. He tilted his head, the bottle brushing his lips, a deliberate motion as he relished the instant. I couldn't help but stare at the curve of his collarbone, the slight shift of his throat, before I quickly looked away. The silence hung heavy, charged with unvoiced tension, until I could no longer resist the question that tormented my mind. "You're remarkable," I whispered, warmth rushing to my cheeks as the confession escaped me. Thomas froze, the bottle hovering, his eyes wide with shock. In a brief moment, I expected a laugh or a playful remark. He set the bottle down, leaning against the counter, his gaze piercing mine, sending a shiver through me. "Do you find it agreeable?" I leaned in, my voice a fragile whisper tinged with doubt. "Do women? Is it captivating to you?" His smile held a flicker of satisfaction, stirring a deep yearning within me. "It demands a shift," he admitted, "shifting just a fraction." Girls often murmur that it's too much to bear. The air crackled with tension, the refrigerator's hum the only witness to our unspoken words. My fingers shook at my sides, the memory of that fleeting touch crashing over me, stealing my breath. His fingers brushed mine as he passed the bottle, a fleeting touch that ignited a fire inside me. My heart raced. I took a cautious sip, the cool water doing little to quell the heat simmering just beneath the surface. We stood in silence, the weight of unspoken words heavy between us, until Thomas turned, his silhouette swallowed by the shadows of the corridor. I stood at the counter, heart racing, my body entwined in a silent yearning. The storm outside lingered, just out of reach. Inside me, a storm was brewing, ready to erupt. The blackout stretched into its second night, the house swallowed by a darkness that felt alive. The oppressive heat wrapped around all. A thick silence lingered, as if the world held its breath, waiting for a storm that never came. The day vanished, my thoughts anchored in the night before. Thomas's voice, raw and resonant, echoing his confession that girls often find it too much to bear. The memory haunted me, a dangerous mix of guilt and fascination, refusing to let go. In the house's shadows, I wandered, a solitary lantern casting a fragile light around me. The air was thick with the scent of rain, a tense quiet that hinted at impending chaos. Yet the storm lingered just beyond, a seductive promise waiting to break free. The garage called to me, shadows swirling in the lantern's dim light on the workbench. Thomas lingered, fingers tracing the worn radio, ensnared in a realm where only the soft hum of electricity held meaning. The air thickened, tension crackling, as the lantern's soft glow murmured hidden truths in the shadows. I pressed against the workbench, the cold metal biting into my lower back, my shorts sliding as I crossed my legs, my gaze locked onto him, following the lines of his figure, the dark strands of hair grazing his forehead as he immersed himself in his work. His raw, untamed charm drew me in, a magnetic pull that clashed with my instincts to pull away. My voice began soft, laced with a teasing charm. "What are your measurements?" A whisper of curiosity haunts the shadows. Thomas stopped, his fingers frozen on the radio, locking eyes with me. His eyes pierced through me, intense and mysterious. For a heartbeat, I feared he might hush me, push me away. Instead, he held my gaze, breath quickening, our chests rising and falling in sync. The air crackled with tension, a jolt that raced through me, igniting every nerve and quickening my pulse. I approached, each step deliberate, my gaze fixed on his, a silent storm brewing between us. "It's shadowy," I admitted, my words escaping like whispered secrets in the dark. The lights fade and I surrender to the moment. "I will turn a blind eye to everything." He hesitated, tension etched on his face, and for a heartbeat, I dreaded his answer would be no. With a subtle change, he surrendered. My heart thundered, each beat quickening as I approached him. My hand trembled as I reached out, fingertips brushing the fragile fabric. He was firm, his form unmistakable even through the cloth, and a rush of excitement surged within me at the contact. I hesitated, my fingers brushing against the fragile fabric. He towered over me, a force that suffocated my breath. My fingers brushed against him, feeling the tension in his body, his breath hitching, a wordless recognition of the moment. Thomas's grip on the workbench was fierce, knuckles white as I approached, my fingers grazing his. His breath raced, echoing the wild thump of my heart. "Emily," he whispered, my name a warning, a longing, yet I pushed forward. My hand moved instinctively, fingers curling softly as I touched. He released a deep, guttural sound, and in an instant, it was done. We froze, trapped in a charged moment, the air heavy with silence, the lantern's glow flickering around us as our breaths intertwined in the quiet. My heart pounded, the weight of my choices and yearnings wrapping around me like a vice. Thomas's eyes pierced through me, filled with mystery, and in that brief moment, time stood still. The air hummed, a charged silence enveloping us, each heartbeat drawing the invisible thread between our souls ever closer. I pulled away, my fingers trembling as they escaped his hold. Thomas gasped, his stance wavering as he leaned against the workbench. The air crackled with unvoiced emotions, a tension that hung heavy, relentless and raw. The lantern flickered, casting restless shadows as I turned away, my heart a storm of desire and regret. A fragile calm shattered inside me. The next night, the sky hung low, thick with unvoiced tension, the air heavy with the scent of rain, just beyond my grasp. The darkness enveloped us, thick and close, while the back porch called with a hint of escape. Crickets sang softly, amplifying the charged silence that crackled between Thomas and me. We stood on the wooden steps, a bottle of warm wine between us, its warmth failing to soothe the electric tension that crackled in the air. The wine burned, fierce and relentless, as the heat inside me surged, a tension mounting with every passing moment. Thoughts of the garage consumed me. Thomas's body tensed under my touch, his voice a hushed plea as he whispered my name. The memory haunted me, a dangerous mix of desire and regret that refused to fade. Thomas edged nearer, our knees almost brushing, igniting a fire inside me. His proximity was intoxicating, an unvoiced tension thickening the air, drowning my thoughts with each pulse of my heart. My breath hitched, but I stayed, his warmth intertwining with mine. He looked at me, his intense gaze searching my face, and for a moment, silence wrapped around us, the air heavy with unspoken desire until he broke the quiet. "Touch me again," he whispered, his voice a rough caress, each word sending shivers through my core. My heart raced, fingers trembling as I reached out. I paused, the weight of my decision pressing down, but my fingers danced over the fabric, tracing its journey. He was ready, the air thick with anticipation, and I felt him tense beneath my touch. "Emily," he breathed, my name a whisper of warning, yet I pushed forward. My hand moved instinctively, fingers curling around him as he released a soft groan, breath hitching in that fleeting instant. His hand grazed mine, a tentative touch that ignited into a bold journey, his fingers gliding softly across my skin. His touch lingered, hesitant yet electric, exploring uncharted depths. It shifted, becoming more urgent, his fingers gliding over my skin, each caress stealing my breath, a spark igniting deep inside. "Your trouble," I whispered, my voice quaking with longing, the words nearly swallowed by the gentle symphony of crickets. His smile held a longing that echoed my own. "Only if you let me," he murmured, his voice low and tender. His hand rose, fingers brushing the soft skin, and I felt control slipping away, the wine and darkness pulling us into a dangerous hold, one with no escape. Suddenly, his free hand gripped the nape of my neck, a steady yet tender touch that sent shivers down my spine. He tilted my chin gently, drawing me to the brink of desire. My breath caught, heart pounding as his longing became clear. "Is it really you, Thomas?" I exhaled gently, the name escaping my mouth like a hidden truth I never meant to reveal. He was quiet, but his fingers on my neck gripped tighter, a mix of power and desire in his caress. My lips opened instinctively, warmth slipping away as I moved nearer to him. The storm approached, but inside, a storm of my own raged, tension building with every heartbeat. Control slipped away. Wine and shadows entwined us in a reckless embrace, leading to an irreversible fate. In the shadows, as the storm murmured its secrets, I felt the weight of our decisions pressing down. The almosts and maybes clung to me, suffocating and real. The line between us faded, leaving me to wonder if escape was still possible. The storm howled outside, but the real turmoil crackled between us, silent and charged. Now, the point of no return had arrived. The night enveloped them, dense and suffocating, as if the air itself held its breath, guarding untold secrets. Every breath a quiet battle in the suffocating grip of night. The storm hung close, murmuring dark secrets in the rumble of thunder. In the dimness, shadows writhed, a single lantern's glow murmuring secrets from the corner of the upstairs hall, holding back the truth. I pressed against the cool wall, fabric clinging to my skin, my mind spiraling in a storm of confusion. He haunted my mind, an unwelcome shadow I couldn't escape. He breathed her name, a fragile secret cloaked in darkness. The boy I can never have. The term felt far away, a relic that failed to convey the raw energy crackling between us. The garage's echo hangs heavy, his body tensed under my touch. Texty's breath whispered my name, a hidden truth in the dark. It hovered in the darkness, a potent mix of desire and regret that enveloped me. The bathroom door creaked open, shattering the silence and pulling me from my thoughts. My breath hitched when Thomas stepped into the hall, a towel slung low on his hips, his glistening skin catching the dim light. Water droplets clung to his chest, glistening in the lantern's glow as he moved. He was a storm, fierce and wild, his dark hair falling over his brow, an overwhelming presence that consumed my mind. In that moment, everything froze. His gaze locked onto mine, and an electric tension filled the air. For a heartbeat, we paused, the air thick with unvoiced longing. His gaze pierced, relentless, cutting through my defenses, shattering the barriers I had built, unraveling the justifications I held onto. "Tell me to stop," he murmured, his voice a husky whisper, urgent and raw, as if he stood on the brink, battling the seductive pull of desire. I just didn't. I leaned in, my fingers tangled in his wet hair, drawing him into a kiss that revealed everything we had never said. Our lips collided, igniting a fire that stole my breath away. His hands slipped beneath my shirt, warmth flooding through his palms as they held me close. A fire surged inside me as I clutched his shoulders, my nails brushing his skin, desperate for our bond to intensify. I told myself it was a blunder, that it couldn't be real, that it was off limits. In that fleeting moment, every thought vanished. He lit a fire in me, awakening a fierce sense of life, longing, and purpose. The towel fell, forgotten, as his hands gripped my waist, pushing my shorts aside with a passion that left me gasping. His touch sparked a blaze inside me, fingers moving with a desperate urgency that stole my breath away. My hands explored him, mapping every curve, fueled by an unquenchable desire. "Thomas," I breathed, a whisper of desire, and he responded with a low growl, his lips finding mine again in a kiss that turned my universe upside down. We were bound, fingers exploring, breaths mingling in the heated silence, our breaths intertwined, a closeness that shattered the once clear divide, the boundary that felt unbreakable just moments ago. Thomas's lips grazed mine, then trailed down my neck, each kiss sending a thrill coursing through me. His hands explored my body, desperate and longing, as if he wanted to etch every curve into his mind. My hands shook, gripping his shoulders, his back, anything to anchor me as the world slipped into darkness. "Emily," he whispered, his voice heavy with desire, and the way my name fell from his lips sparked the unvoiced tension hanging between us. My mind blurred, breath trapped as our bodies fused, thoughts fading into nothing but him. His hands explored, sparking a blaze inside me with every tender touch. My fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer as our kisses intensified, brimming with unvoiced desire. The wall's chill enveloped me, but all I felt was Thomas, the magnetic force drawing us together. His fingers slipped under my shirt, lifting the fabric, and I gave in to the moment, the cold air of fleeting comfort before his warmth enveloped me again. Our fingers touched, electric and urgent, desire bubbling just below the surface. His hands grazed my skin, igniting a warmth that lingered as I traced his form, etching the moment into my memory. The air crackled with intensity as boundaries dissolved in a haze of warmth and urgent whispers that consumed me. His hands explored, warm and insistent, tracing the contours of my body with a gentleness that shattered me utterly. His presence wrapped around me, his breath hitching at my touch, while the world vanished. The candlelight flickered, casting shadows that danced around us, sealing a moment meant only for us. The air thickened with the scent of rain, warmth lingering. Every touch, every whisper of skin against skin ignited a fire inside me. His lips met mine, a kiss electric and consuming, and I yielded to it, to him, as the unvoiced tension between us swelled like a storm. With every shift, he pulled me in, breath hitching, fingers tangled in his hair, gripping tightly. The weight of our connection was palpable, each touch igniting a fire, each fleeting glance plunging me into a realm I feared to name. The storm raged on, but inside, we were caught in a tempest of unvoiced yearnings, breathless and unbalanced. In the quiet of the night, our bodies entwined, the weight of our secret hung heavy between us. The line we once honored has blurred, and now I question if we can ever go back. The storm howled outside, but the real tempest brewed inside, tying us together in a thrilling, dangerous embrace, with no escape in sight. A storm of longing and regret raged within me, each emotion colliding as I searched for clarity. Yet, beneath it all, the truth remained, silent and undeniable. A dangerous decision, heavy with repercussions, and no way to retreat. The storm outside may wane, but the one inside us is just beginning to awaken. The next evening, shadows clung tightly, suffocating the house in a heavy shroud of heat and mystery. The air pressed down, thick and suffocating, amplifying the silent turmoil inside me. I sat on the couch, a lone candle flickering on the table, its light casting shadows that danced on the walls. My hands trembled, thoughts tangled in a fragile storm as silence enveloped me. He entered the room, a heavy silence wrapping around them both. A thrill surged within me, a prelude to his arrival, stirring an unnamed desire. He stayed, eyes fixed on me, an unspoken charge crackling in the air. In that brief moment, we froze, the air heavy with unspoken words that hung between us. He knelt between my thighs, his hands warm and intent as they parted me. His touch sparked a deep yearning, my breath catching as his gaze wrapped around me like a warm embrace. His gaze locked onto mine, a question hanging heavy, and I nodded, my voice barely a whisper, yet warm. The word hung in the air, a fragile promise, and he acted on instinct, his lips grazing mine, a tentative waltz of uncertainty. His presence ignited a fire in me, my body aching for a deeper bond. My fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer as he focused on me, his intensity leaving me breathless. Each heartbeat pulled me closer to the edge. Heat enveloped me, his touch sparking a haze that blurred my mind. My body responded without hesitation, every nerve sparking with an exhilarating fire as he guided me to unimaginable peaks. A fleeting moment hung heavy, a whisper of doubt grazing my mind. In an instant, it disappeared, carried off by the overwhelming wave of bliss that surrounded me. My fingers tangled in his hair, a breathless gasp slipping out as I teetered on the brink of ecstasy. Is it really off limits? Did the hidden excitement of our deeds pull us closer, sharpening the edge, wrapping me in a dangerous ecstasy, a bold decision, a painful regret? In that brief moment, everything else faded away. My desire consumed me, a longing for him that overshadowed everything. At the finish, a breath caught in my throat, echoing in the stillness, my body trembling under the gravity of it all. He pushed forward, relentless, leaving me gasping, my body a faint echo of what it once was. He pulled away slowly, his eyes filled with mystery. We stood in silence, the air heavy with what remained unsaid, my breath a faint whisper in the flickering candlelight. The weight of my choices consumed me, a tight grip of yearning and regret that shadowed my mind. The barrier that once defined us has vanished, erased by the profound connection we forged. His fingers brushed my cheek, a brief touch that ignited a storm within me. I leaned in, his warmth igniting a spark I couldn't ignore. His fingers brushed my neck, a mix of tenderness and possession as the air crackled with our unvoiced connection. The oppressive heat of the blackout wrapped around the house, a suffocating silence concealing unspoken truths. The air was thick, a suffocating weight, as a solitary candle flickered on the kitchen counter, its light casting shadows that murmured hidden truths. I sat at the table, a glass of wine untouched, its warmth unable to calm the storm inside me. He entered the kitchen, a silent tension crackling around him. His presence loomed, felt deeply, even without a single look. A shiver of desire surged within me, revealing everything I couldn't say. He held a bottle of wine, fingers tangled in damp strands, leaning against the counter with a casual intensity. I believed you yearned for something more profound, he whispered, his voice rough as he poured the liquid into his glass. I nodded, silence enveloping us as he sank into the chair across from me, his piercing gaze locking onto mine. Shadows danced in the candlelight, highlighting the sharp lines of his face and the soft glow of warmth on his skin. His shirt clung to him, tracing the lines of his chest, and I fought the urge to look away, my grip on the glass growing tighter. We sipped in silence, the air heavy with unvoiced thoughts, our bond intensifying with each heartbeat. His gaze ensnared me, the warmth of the wine forgotten, as an unspoken tension crackled in the air. Your silence speaks volumes. His whisper broke the silence, electrifying the air around them. I shrugged, my voice barely a whisper. He leaned in, elbows on the table, his gaze piercing into mine, lost in thought. What's the essence? I halted, my thoughts a tempest of desire and regret. In the shadows, our tale begins, shrouded in mystery. His eyes, a steady mask, concealed a whirlwind of thoughts beneath. I sip my wine, its warmth wrapping around me, but it does nothing to soothe the storm inside. A hidden truth, a brief look that sparks a blaze. Silent words hang, thick with longing. A fleeting touch, a whisper of skin, and everything else dissolves, consumed by the rush of the taboo. His laughter, a soft, deep murmur, stirred something within me, igniting a thrill that felt both exhilarating and forbidden. It's a labyrinth of emotions. I looked up at him, his dark eyes sparkling with mischief, an intensity that took my breath. "We can stop," he murmured, his voice heavy with meaning, "if you wish to." I averted my gaze, driven by instinct, before logic could intervene. This can't be the end. His gaze softened as he drew nearer, his fingers hovering tantalizingly close to my skin. A spark ignited, unspoken tension enveloping us in a secret embrace. "Good," he breathed, desire heavy in his words. He rose, each movement deliberate, and my heart raced with unvoiced desire. He took the glass from my hands, setting it aside before pulling me close. His hands brushed my skin, a mix of heat and desire, pulling me to the table's brink. "Just say the word, and I'll let go," he whispered, his breath warm against my ear. I nodded, speechless. He leaned in, our lips brushed in a kiss that held a fragile intensity, electric with unvoiced longing. His hands moved over me, tracing every curve with a tenderness that left me breathless. The air grew heavy, a silent tension crackling between us, undeniable and electric. My fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer as the kiss deepened, our bodies entwined, drowning my thoughts. In an instant, he lifted me, the cold of the table biting against the heat I exuded. His fingers grazed my skin, a quiet fire sparking between us, leaving me gasping and longing. The thrill of our actions heightened everything, wrapping me in a dangerous allure that was impossible to resist. A bold decision, cloaked in darkness. In that moment, everything else faded away. This was my longing. Desire consumed her, overshadowing everything around. In the dim light of the kitchen, our bodies intertwined, a silent promise hanging in the air. The weight of our choices clung to me, a haunting whisper. The wall that separated us crumbled, revealing the exhilarating vastness of the unknown, intensified by the strength of our connection. The storm raged outside, yet inside we spun in a tempest of our making, breathless and unbalanced. The pull of our secret, the rush of the forbidden, enveloped us, drawing me into a longing I couldn't, and in that moment didn't want to escape. The storm howled outside, but the real turmoil had already begun within. A path forged deep within, with no turning back. The next morning, power surged back, the house stirring to life with a soft hum, lights flickering, chasing away the shadows. By the kitchen sink, my robe clung to me as I stared into the rain-soaked yard, drowning in my thoughts. The storm faded, revealing a shimmering earth and a sharp, fresh air, as if life itself had begun anew. The memory of our connection clung to me, an inescapable force, both a balm and a weight. The house breathed intimacy, its walls murmuring hidden truths. The storm shattered my defenses, exposing my raw, unguarded self. His touch burned on my skin, his breath a haunting whisper against my neck. The thought alone shook me, a stark contrast to the morning's chill. He arrived like a breath, the faint sound of footsteps on wood, the door creaking softly, anticipation hanging thick in the air. Thomas entered the kitchen, hair a chaotic mess from sleep, his dark eyes darting away the instant they met mine. His movements crackled with tension, a pause that mirrored my own doubt. In that brief stillness, unvoiced words lingered in the air between us. The coffee maker roared to life, its bitter scent filling the air, but we remained frozen, cups untouched. I clung to the sink, my fingers trembling as a tempest of thoughts raged within me. The silence hung thick, suffocating, until he finally broke it. "Morning," he whispered, his voice thick with intimacy, a secret just for her. I nodded, my gaze fixed on the window, lost in thought. "Good morning." He drew closer, his presence wrapping around me, warmth radiating before his fingers brushed my arm. Their fingers grazed mine, a tentative touch that set my heart ablaze. I faced him, my heart pounding, and for a moment silence wrapped around us. The air crackled, a silent connection from last night weighing down, the world pausing in anticipation. His gaze held me captive, intense and mysterious, igniting a fierce urge to escape into silence, but I held back. Our eyes met, a jolt of electricity igniting within me as he approached, his fingers grazing my skin with a feather-light touch. We must confront the weight of that moment, not let it fade into nothingness. I whispered, soft but unwavering. He nodded, his gaze piercing through me, a spark of wildness igniting between us, stealing my breath away. "I can't maintain this mask," he whispered, his voice trembling. His words hung in the air, heavy with significance, and for a moment I was speechless, unsure of how to respond. The coffee maker beeped, shattering the silence, but we stood still, trapped in a wordless tension. Time froze, wrapping us in a delicate cocoon, shielded from the turmoil outside. He drew closer, his hand reaching for mine, our fingers intertwining in a grip that was fierce yet tender. His touch sparked a warmth, a brief refuge in the silence of hidden truths and the ghosts of our history. In that fleeting moment, the weight of our decisions lifted, if just a little. We kept it nameless, a breath of something profound, a hint of what might have been. It was pointless. In the shadows, our bond whispered, a fragile thread of unspoken understanding, intertwining our souls in silence. My fingers intertwined with his, and he squeezed gently, his thumb tracing my knuckles, a touch both comforting and possessive. "What happens now?" I finally asked, my voice barely a whisper. He lingered, his gaze piercing mine, and for a heartbeat, dread gripped me. Would he pull away? He moved in, our foreheads meeting, his breath a soft heat against my skin. "I can't say," he confessed, his voice heavy with unexpressed emotions. "The fear of losing you consumes me." His words cut deep, an ache echoing in the silence of my heart. I yearned to promise him everything would be fine, that we would face this together, but the words failed me, caught in my throat. He pulled back slightly, his hand cupping my cheek, his thumb brushing my skin like a fleeting breath. "I need you," he whispered, his voice quaking with raw emotion. I gave in to his touch, eyes closed as the world slipped away. It was only him, only us, and the fragile thread connecting our souls. As I opened my eyes, his gaze pierced through me, and an electric tension crackled in the air, stirring emotions I couldn't quite grasp. Longing or dread, it shattered the stillness. "We'll find a way," I whispered, my voice steady despite the storm raging inside. He nodded, pulling away, his hand leaving mine. The warmth of his touch remained, a silent promise or an unasked question I wasn't sure I could face. The coffee sat on the counter, steam rising gently as we froze, trapped in a moment too delicate to shatter. We lingered, silence heavy with unspoken words. The future stretched before us, an untouched canvas, yet the weight of our transformation and the possibilities hung in the air, undeniable. Morning light crept through the window, igniting a stirring deep within me, something I had never felt before. It went beyond guilt or desire, a deep bond that shook me in ways I never expected. Thomas's throat constricted, breaking the silence that hung heavy in the air. "I should leave," he murmured, uncertainty lacing his words. I nodded, silence enveloping me as I watched him turn and exit the kitchen. His footsteps shattered the hallway's silence, and in that instant, his absence enveloped me like a suffocating weight. By the window, I watched the rain soak the yard, and a sudden truth hit me hard. The storm had passed, but the real chaos was just beginning. Inside me, inside us, there was no turning back now. That first mistake changed everything, casting a shadow over our uncertain journey, heavy with the weight of our true selves. Amidst the vibrant chaos of the house, one undeniable truth took root in my soul. This was just the start, the first breath of what lay ahead. The moments that followed faded, blurred, and unclear. I moved silently through the house's shadows, my heart trapped in a tangle of unvoiced emotions. Shame and longing clash, trepidation lurking, each vying for dominance. A fragile tension simmered beneath, hinting at unvoiced longings, a breath of hope. I felt it, though I couldn't name it yet. In the living room, I stood frozen, the birthplace of it all. The storm had shared its dark truths here too. The scent of rain lingered, a cool breath that felt tantalizingly forbidden. I sat on the couch, fingers grazing the place of our shared moment, the air heavy with what remained unsaid. His touch remains, a haunting whisper in my mind. The weight hung, silent and suffocating. The burden of our choices clung to me, thick with unvoiced consequences, an inescapable heaviness I couldn't dispel. Retreat was impossible now. The boundary dissolved, leaving only the haunting echoes of their choices, forever etched in memory. The footsteps echoed in the hallway, igniting a rush of adrenaline that quickened my heartbeat. He lingered in the doorway, a riddle in his eyes, and for a fleeting moment, silence wrapped around us. "I thought you were lost forever," I whispered, my voice a delicate wisp in the stillness. He turned away, but our eyes met for an instant that felt electric. I just couldn't do it. His voice enveloped me, and the weight of his gaze remained, electric and undeniable. He stepped into the room, each movement deliberate, and sat beside me, his warmth igniting the air around us. Silence enveloped us, heavy with unexpressed feelings, a bond forged in the unknown. His hand grazed mine, fingers intertwining in a grip that was fierce yet tender. In that brief moment, the weight of our hidden truths and silent confessions lifted, if only a little. The future stretched out, pristine and full of potential. But the weight of our change and the haunting possibilities were inescapable. Sunlight poured through the windows, casting a golden glow, and I felt the stirrings of something forbidden rise within me. It surpassed guilt and desire, morphing into a deep-seated fear, an unsettling truth that seized my heart with an intensity like no other. In that instant, as our fingers intertwined, clarity struck me like lightning. This was just the start, the first light breaking through.